Hi, everyone. We'll get started in just a minute. We've got a couple of people in the waiting room who are kind of drifting in, so give me another minute or two, and then we will get started. All right, everyone, let's get started here. I am Russet Morrow. I am a coach with OutRival Racing, and I am going to just make sure everybody can hear me. Can someone just kind of check the chat box and just kind of let me know that you all can hear me? All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you. This is the first time I've actually been in charge of doing all the controls on Zoom. So I'm going to be about 5 seconds slower than I should be. So I apologize in advance for that. But anyway, this is the Ironman Lake Placid 2021 course overview. Let me just get rid of a couple of things, and then I will attempt to share my screen a little bit better. Let's see. I'm saying you guys can see it okay. I wanted to do a slightly different format, but it's not cooperating with me right now. Okay, so first I want to go with the 5 training cornerstones. We're going to just kick off with that. And just a quick note before we get too far into this, you can consider this kind of part 1 of the race overview for Lake Placid. I am focusing specifically tonight on the course. Tim Snow is going to be giving a pacing and strategy overview the Thursday prior to the race at 1 p.m. If you haven't been invited to that Zoom chat, you can reach out to me. Somebody will get a hold of you and make sure that you're invited to that. But for now, like I say, we're going over the specific course outline. So 5 training stones, like I say, if you have trained with us for any length of time, you know this. Training, nutrition, and rest feed into race preparation, event fueling, pacing lead into race execution, and there's that very important mental training aspect as well. They all lead into race and event outcome. And I guess tonight I would consider this maybe preparation. If you were going to have to find a cornerstone or find a category to put this in, that's where we are tonight. So before we get into the actual course itself, I just want to talk a couple of minutes about the week before the race, leading up into the race. We want to be like this guy here in his hammock. The only thing I might add is maybe having him sit in some Norm Tech boots or maybe get a therapy gun out, something like that. But basically get as much rest as you can, get as much set up that you can and out of the way as possible as early as you can in the week. Stay off your feet, stay hydrated. If you've got a coach, I'm sure they've been telling you this kind of thing. In terms of athlete briefings, there are a few options for people. You can go to the horse show grounds. Thursday and Friday, they'll have meetings at 11 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. There's a last meeting on Saturday at 11 o'clock. And then there's a virtual option as well. So I would say if you're going to have a lot of questions, then you should maybe pick the in-person meetings. If you don't have that many questions or you don't have any questions, I would say just go the virtual route and save yourself a headache of getting there. That's kind of my suggestion for that. You are going to get a bike gear and checkout ticket. We'll actually talk on the next slide a little bit more about that. Again, week before, you're minimizing stress. You're sleeping as much as you can. Hopefully, you've got your nutrition figured out. I'm assuming that you're going to have your nutrition figured out. You've probably been sorry, I keep doing this. I apologize. There's a weird button on my screen and I can't get rid of it. So I can't figure out how to actually do a slideshow presentation. So you're stuck with all these slides on the side. So I apologize. I assume by now you've gotten your nutrition figured out because you've been practicing with it now for months. So make sure you've got enough gels, enough bars, everything figured out so that you're not scrambling at the expo at the last minute or running to the local bike shop to grab things. Don't forget to replace and charge your batteries. That might be your watch, your electronic shifters. I've had that happen to me on a training ride where I thought my stuff was charged and it was not. Even the battery in your heart rate strap. So if you've got, if you haven't changed your battery in a while, just kind of be on the safe side, maybe check that out, maybe just change that as well. In terms of the check-in, what does that look like? You should have by now gotten an email it'll come from World Triathlon Corporation. They want you to go into your active.com account to schedule a check-in time. If you haven't done that, you can just log into your active account and just do it that way. When you get there, they want you to have a QR code that Active gave you in your confirmation email, and they want it on your phone or printed just to show them to get started. You've got to check in by Friday. When you go and check in, and it's at the horse show ground. So if you've done Placid before, it's not up at the oval because there is no oval right now. It's down. The horse show grounds are actually part of the run this year. You're going to have, like I say, proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test, I believe, within 72 hours of arriving. You're going to have a photo ID. You're going to have a US 18 number. If not, they're going to charge you whatever it is, $15 or something if it's not current. Athletes only are getting their packets. No friends or family this year, so you're going solo to it. And then when you receive your race packet, you're going to get your giveaways. They usually have like a flag and a poster, and maybe they'll have some Red Bull because that's one of the sponsors. So you'll get some swag. You'll get your timing chip. In your race packet, you're actually getting your race bib there. Usually they put out the race numbers, a few weeks or a month or whatever it is beforehand. You're actually getting your race number and your bib when you check in. In the race packet, also, you're getting your helmet and bike stickers. You're getting a wristband that shows you're an athlete. Wear that all weekend through the race. That'll have your race number on it as well. You're getting your gear bags, and you are also going to be getting a checkout ticket, which is kind of like a coupon if you haven't gotten one of these before. It allows your friend or family who's with you to come and get all of your gear, because at the end of the race, you may be feeling beat up. You may just not be, you may not be feeling like going to get your stuff, or they can actually go and get it while you're out on the run. So it allows somebody else besides you to go and get your stuff. And it's so nice to have somebody to be able to do that. This is just a picture of all of the various gear bags that you're going to be getting. I always remember, blue is for bike, red is for run, and then you've got a bike special needs bag, a run special needs bag, and then you've also got a morning clothes bag as well, where you put all of the stuff that you've been that you go to the race in that morning. You can put that in the morning clothes bag. There'll actually be a truck there that you can stick it on. That'll be in transition, and it'll drive it over to the finish line, or you can just hand it off to friends and family. So in the meantime, after you check in, don't forget, as I said before, you're continuing your taper, so you're eating well. You've got no stress, right? You're getting lots of sleep, and you're staying hydrated. So there's that as well. So then Ironman Eve comes, and what are you doing, right? You are going to be having a big breakfast. Usually QT2 holds a breakfast. They're not allowing us to do that this year at the Crown Plaza. So we've actually got a swim. I believe it's at 8 on Friday, followed by a bagged lunch. So if anybody's interested in that, you can always reach out to me if you haven't gotten an invite to that. After your breakfast, you're going to taper your food throughout the remainder of the day. You almost want to go to bed hungry. You don't want to go to bed on a full belly because you're going to wake up the next day bloated. And it's not a good way to start the day. And again, hydrate. Mandatory bike and gear check-in from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at transition. This year they're doing it so that it's got to be scheduled. So from my understanding, once you actually check in, you get your packet, you go to you go to the expo, all of that stuff. Whenever you check in Thursday or Friday, you will actually be offered a time, or you schedule a time to go and check your bike and gear in. So again, they're being a lot stricter now than they used to be. That's just the way it is with COVID, right? So again, you're going to have 2 appointments. You're going to have one to check in initially to get all of your stuff, to let them know you're here. And then the second one is for all of your gear drop off and your bike drop off. And then you're going to have an early dinner, right? Because you want to be in bed early. Again, you want to go to bed not feeling really stuffed. So you don't want dinner at like 8 o'clock at night, right? So make sure you try to do that. Race morning, right? You've woken up early. It's like 3 or 3:30 in the morning, whatever it is. You're going to have a breakfast that's low in fiber, fat, and doesn't have a ton of protein. Then you're going to hop yourself over to transition. It opens at 4:30 and it closes at 6 a.m. Like I mentioned earlier, special needs bags are going to be dropped off race morning. The run bags, I believe they'll be like a budget rental truck or something. You're going to give your run bags to volunteers. They'll put them on the truck. The run bags will be transported to the horse show grounds. That's where run special needs is going to be. Your bike special needs is going to be close to transition. So they'll have an area marked off that you can put your bike special needs bag if you choose, if you want to put it there. You can do that if you choose to do that. Let's see, there will be shuttle buses from various parking lots, all the downtown. And then there'll be a bus from Town Hall to transition because it's like a little over a mile or maybe close to a mile and a half from Town Hall to transition. So if you all remember, if anybody there's a bunch of people on the call who have done Lake Placid before, usually back in the old days, transition was right by the high school in the Oval. The Oval is being ripped up this year. You can't even get close to it, right? So they moved transition down to Northwood School. So we'll talk about that when we get to the course itself. There is a swim warm-up that runs from 6 to 6:30 in the morning. I'd suggest you try to get in the water, get yourself acclimated, get a little bit of a workout in to get your body kind of geared up for the day. Sadly for me anyway, this year, there will be no wetsuit strippers as far as I know. It's so nice to be able to kind of flap down and have them take that wetsuit right off. So you're on your own this year. Your bags, no changing tents again this year. Thank you to COVID. So from what I saw in the athlete guide, bags are probably going to be racked at your bike, which is a huge change. And I will remember to say this now because I may not, when we talk about the bike course, it looks as though you need to put your bike shoes in your bike bag. Some races, and I'm not sure Lake Placid has ever let you do this. They'll let you put your shoes clipped to your bike. They're not doing it. They said that the chute is so narrow this year, they just don't want to take chances with people getting a little bit sort of off kilter on their bikes. So you got to put your shoes in your bike bag and have them on when you get on your bike. Again, no sunscreen volunteers this year. It was great to just kind of have somebody hold your hands out or hold your arms out and say, kind of get that sunscreen on me. You're on your own this year. Do not forget to use it because even though some of the course is shady, it's not all shady and it's going to be a long day. And no body marking this year, and they're not expecting you to do your own. I know I've been to a couple of races where they just kind of give you some tattoos to put on. They are not doing that. There's just no body marking this year. So next slide. All right. So the race is starting. What does the swim look like, right? This year, the pros are starting at 6:25 a.m. Age groupers are starting 10 minutes later at 6:35 a.m. The course starts where it always have. It's up on the beach, right? It's a 1.5 loop course. It will most likely be wetsuit legal, but I would suggest why not be ready for anything and have a plan for that. I know my very first Ironman was Lake Placid in 2011, and that was a non-wetsuit legal race. So you got to be ready for anything, right? And I just didn't wear my wetsuit. If you've got a skin suit, you may as well pack that. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. But like I say, I mean, it's trending toward, given the cool days, the temperature, I was looking at the Lake Placid temperature I think it's probably going to be wetsuit legal. It is self-seated, so it's a rolling start. The way that it works is, and I'm imagining it works like it has in years past, where you've got 10-minute increments or 5-minute increments. And if you're within that 5 to 10 minutes, you are seating yourself somewhere within that kind of corral almost. And there'll be these people with like these tall white signs or tall poles, and they'll have a sign and it'll say like, 1 minute to 110. And if that's what you swim, that's where you go. And then within that corral, you can kind of poke around and ask, okay, well, what do you think? Is it closer to 110? Are you swimming closer to 102? And kind of get with your people. Like I say, so it's self-seated. You're kind of on your own to figure out where you want to be. There is a cable. I was up in Lake Placid a week and a half ago or so, and I was very happy to see that there is a cable laid out that runs right along the course. So I guess you could get away with not sighting at all because the cable is laid. But as you know, that's a nice sort of landmark for you if you're on one side or the other of the cable. You just kind of follow that. Draft as you are able. If you can get on someone's toes or someone's hip, you're in good luck. And the turns will be crowded, so you can stay wide of the buoys. Just to kind of stay out of the fray. So this is a picture of the swim map. You can see at the bottom, that's where you're going to start. That's traditionally where you start. You're going to swim up towards Golden Arrow, and then you're going to kind of take a right almost toward the edge of the lake. And it's going to be, I think, past where the course in the past has gone. And then you're going to hang a right the first time, swim right back and around. There's a dock on the lake. So you're going to swim around that dock. You're going to run back up onto the beach, I believe. And then you're going to take that next half loop. You're going to aim for a cove at the very edge of the lake. And then you're going to hang a right past that buoy that you can see right at the top of that map. And then you're going to look for this picture. I have a picture of the swim exit. It's actually, I think, a cottage owned by Northwood School. That's where kind of everything is taking place this year. So you're going to get out of the water. You're going to be running there. And then you can see this road. You're going to hang a right on this road. The swim cove where you exit is right near Whitney Road. So it's kind of on the back of the lake. You're going to run into transition. You're going to run down that road, and you're going to kind of hang a right into transition. And that's the Northwood School. That's where, like I say, all the action takes place. So once you get out of transition there, the bike is somewhat similar for anybody who's done Placid to previous years with kind of a new old, I'll put that in quotes, out and back, because you do end up a fair amount on Hazelton Road. You just get there a different way. So the first 5-ish miles of each of the loops are hilly, especially once you get past River Road, I think, and that's where kind of the run course takes a turn. People forget that when you come out of town. They know the Keene descents, they know the Wilmington Notch going right back up into town, but they kind of forget getting out of town. I always think that my tire's flat because I'm going so slow, but really it's just a hill. So, you're going to just race your race, and Tim will talk a little bit more about this on next week, I think, but let people pass. You will catch up with them, so don't worry about it. You race your race, right? Few more miles out of town, you get to the Keene descent. You all have probably heard about this. It is very fast, so be careful when you're going down that. Just stay to the right if you need to. Let other people go to your left. The faster guys stay to the left, the slower guys to the right. If you get nervous, you can feather your brakes. You can sit upright in your saddle to kind of slow yourself down and make yourself more of a balloon. But you get down that and you really go whizzing down that, right? And we'll look at the map in a minute, but essentially after the descent, you're going to take a left that goes toward J. You'll be in Keene. And then what you're going to do is get toward J. And then instead of, for anybody who's done the old out and back to Ossable Forks, instead of doing that out and back, you're going right up that road. You're going to take a left up that road. So you lead right into a hill. You're going to go down that a couple of miles, and then you're going to take a right on Bill Huber Road. you'll see that big Hazelton lumber sign. If you remember that from races past, you're actually going to take a right there. You're going to go kind of down a little bit of a hill. Then you're going to take a right on Hazelton Road. It's going to be right over a bridge. And I will tell you, when I have ridden there a couple of times in the past, it is a little bit sandy right off of that bridge. I imagine by Ironman Day, they will have cleaned it out, but it's just kind of something to be a little bit cautious about. So just be careful about that. So then you're going to go out Hazelton Road, 4.5 miles. You're going to turn around. You're going to come on back. Um, you're going to go out through Wilmington Notch, and then you're going to go up the Cherries and then the Bears, Papa Bears, the very last hill up leading into town. You're actually going to lane shift to the left side of the road there. You're going to do an out and back that takes you almost back into town. You're going to turn around, and then you're going to take a left into Northwood Road. You're going to go right past Transition, and then you are going to go on to the second bike loop. Same thing. Just a quick review of this map. On the bike course, honestly, most of the hills, keen descent, yes, you're going down real fast, but the uphills in general are pretty gradual. So there's no like all of a sudden you're going to spike your power. There's no reason to really do that. Again, 74 feet per mile, about 8,300 feet of climbing. Again, it's a hilly course, but not super steep. So just to quickly review this map as you're coming out of Placid, I did not mention there is basically they have you turn into, what is it, Van Heuven, the ski entrance there, and it's like a mile out and back there. And essentially what they want is to add an aid station. So you're basically you're going to bike a mile in, basically to go to an aid station, and you can turn around, right? Go back out. And then you are, that's a couple of miles prior to the Keene descent. Then you're going to descend down that Keene descent. You're going to take a left toward J. You're going to go up through J. And again, you're not going to Ossable Forks. You're going to take a left, and then a right up the Bill Huber Road, take a right onto Hazelton Road, go down about 4.5 miles. There'll be a nice little turnaround for you. Come on back. And for anybody who's done Hazelton Road in the past, you are going to end up coming back past that firehouse there. If you all remember that, you're going to take a right after the firehouse, and then you're going to be at that North Pole at that 4-way intersection there. You're going to take a left. You're going to climb up Wilmington Notch. It's going to feel like it takes forever, but I promise you it's not as bad as you think. And then, like I say, you're going to go up Papa Bear. You're going to take the out and back into town, left onto Northwood, and then go on to your second loop. So this is just a quick look at the bike elevation. I think it's not as much as it has been in the past. I think the past elevation is a little bit more, if that's of any consolation. But just to take a look at that. And this is all laid out in the athlete guide as well. I'm sure you all know. All right. So now you've gotten through the bike. You've put your bike back in transition. You've gotten your gear bags. You put all your stuff back in your gear bags, and you've got your run stuff on, right? So in terms of the run course, there are some hills. They're pretty spaced out. There are a couple of rollers, or more than a couple, on River Road. And again, like I said before, there is a fair amount of shade on River Road. But again, don't forget sunscreen, and those volunteers won't be out there to help you with that. So maybe tuck a bottle of sunscreen in each of your gear bags, just to kind of remind you to do that. You're only going to be, if we take a look at the map, you can see where transition is at Northwood School. You're only going to be on Mirror Lake Drive one time for this particular run course. So you're going to head out onto Mirror Lake Drive. You're going to take a left once you get into the center of town, and then you're going to kind of start going down Sentinel Road, right back toward where the horse show grounds are, kind of where the expo is. You're going to take a left into the horse grounds. It's a pretty flat area, right? You're going to be visiting the horse grounds a lot. So kind of get used to the scenery, right? You're going to go around the horse grounds, and then you're going to take a left and keep going down that hill. And then you're going to take a left on River Road, and that's where it gets a little bit lonely. There aren't quite as many crowds on River Road, so you're just going to have to kind of feed off people as you're running down that road, right? But there is a fair amount of shade, so that part's kind of nice, right? You're going to continue down River Road. You're going to do a turnaround, right? You're going to go back up River Road. You're going to go back through the horse grounds, and then you're going to head back toward town. And when you get close to the Prague Inn, if anybody remembers that, there's a church there. And this is a picture of the church. It's kind of a nondescript building. I honestly never even noticed it until I went to look for it. You're going to turn around right around there, and then you're going to go back down, back through the horse grounds once again, back down River Road, turn around, right? Back up through the horse grounds because you haven't seen them enough, right? And you're going to head right back up. And then you are going to pass that church. You're going to go up IGA Hill, which is horrible, but luckily we only have to do it once this year. And then you're going to take a left onto Main Street. And at that point, I think your adrenaline is going to carry you right through the finish line. And the finish line, it actually is right in front of the oval. So you'll finish near the Olympic Oval, which is kind of fun still. Just to take a quick look at the run course elevation, here is a map of it. And again, this is in the athlete guide if you want to look at it a little bit more closely. Again, some elevation, but it's spread out. So nothing that you can't handle, right? All right, just a couple of quick notes about transition. And again, just as you are headed into transition, just try to visualize, okay, everything, this is how it's going to go. Maybe practice a couple of times in the week leading up is, okay, here's where all of my stuff is. I actually pile my stuff in my bag kind of in layers, thinking about how I want to take it out. I actually end up dumping it over, but it's all sort of in the pile, kind of like how I want it, right? And again, in 2021, looks like no changing tents, probably all gear at your bike. While I'm in transition, I'm trying to stay relaxed. I'm trying not to mess up. Just take a couple of breaths if you need to. It's not going to break you to take an extra 3 seconds, right? To make sure you're doing everything right. Remember your race belt. That's the only time you're going to need it. You do not need it on the bike, and you do not need it on the swim. And if you can, try to get some nutrition down while you're leaving transition. I actually have a Ziploc bag that I carry a lot of my stuff in, and I'll like start getting my banana out or whatever it is I need as I'm leaving. I'm trying to be really efficient as I'm leaving. But again, you're really just getting in there, making it smooth, and getting on out. Let's say, sort of speaking of nutrition and fueling, just a quick note about what the on-course nutrition is. You're going to see an aid station on the bike every 15 miles-ish, right? And at those aid stations, you're going to see water. You're going to see orange Gatorade Endurance, some Red Bull, the Morton Gel 100, the Morton Gel 100 with 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is a lot of caffeine, quantum energy scores, and fig bars. And generally speaking, you'll get 2 shots at getting a lot of this stuff, because what happens is the tables, the aid stations are really, really long. It's not just like a tiny like card table setup, right? They're going to have volunteers out for the bike course who are going to be there sort of with your water, your gels, your Gatorade, whatever, kind of out with their hand, being able to hand it to you. It's going to be a little bit different on the run, but they're going to be there handing it to you. And generally speaking, the aid stations start water, orange, kind of as I listed, Red Bull gel, squares, fig bars, and then they'll kind of go backwards, back up the ladder. So then you've got a second shot. If you somehow miss your orange Gatorade the first time around, just keep going down. You don't need to stop if you've missed it, because you're going to cause a crash for, the people further behind you. Just keep going. You're going to get another chance. And what I usually do, and you guys probably already all know this, but I'll kind of point at my volunteer who I've picked, and I'll say, you, I want you, right? And I'll grab my Gatorade and kind of suck that down. Prior to getting to the bike aid station, all of the aid stations will want you to throw out whatever you've got on you. Do not litter on the course. You can get in big trouble for that. So make sure you're not littering. They're going to want you to throw out your bottles. I usually try to get rid of some of my gel bar wrappers or whatever I can to get me, to get that off of my body. Some of the aid station will have a net or something. It'll be pretty obvious. So try to get rid of whatever you can prior to prior to picking things up at the aid station. And then on the run, it's going to be a little bit different this year than in years past. But the run aid stations are every mile, and they're doing what's called a grab and go this year. So instead of a volunteer handing everything out, they're going to have little individual cups at each of the aid stations. And again, it's a really long aid station. So you've got your water, your lemon lime Gatorade, your Red Bull. They're going to put cola on the bike course, the Morton gel with caffeine, quantum energy squares, fig bars, plus you've got chips, pretzels, bananas. It's like a kind of like a buffet for you. And then at aid station 1, they have something called Active Ice, which I never heard of. It's I looked it up. It's an ointment for muscle pain relief. I think it sounds like it's icy hot. So if you feel like you, I guess, have some muscle pain, which you're going to right after the bike, you can put that on and maybe you'll feel kind of supercharged to go to the next aid station. But again, you'll have a couple of shots at it. So don't worry if you have missed your first cup of lemon lime Gatorade, there will be more for you to come. And with that, honestly, we can open it up to questions. If you want to ask a question, you can kind of just unmute yourself, or I'm going to attempt to unshare my screen, and then we can just kind of have a conversation. So again, this is the first time I've had to do this on my own, so it's going to take a second for me to do this. There we go. Worked the first time. Does anybody have any questions?
Did you happen to figure out the difference in vertical on the run on the new course versus the old course? I didn't see that.
I don't know offhand, but from what I remember from the athlete guide from years past, it is less. But I can double check and let you know, because I don't know offhand.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody was asking where we drop the special needs bags off. On the bike, it's going to be the special needs bike drop is going to be near transition. So that's a little bit different than years past too. For the run, it's actually going to be at the horse show grounds. So there'll be a big giant like budget rental truck, and I'll say like drop run special needs bags here. And you will just go over and either leave it with a volunteer or you'll drop it, and they will actually transport the bags. They'll bring them down to the horse show grounds. And then what they'll do is they'll hopefully, I don't know this for sure, but they should lay them out in approximate number order. And I know in years past, they would have volunteers there, and there'd be like a guy 1/4 mile before the special needs with a bullhorn. He's like, "What's your number?" And you would tell him your number. And then he would be like, "All right, number 442 is coming and needs a special needs bags." I think this year for both bike and run, they're not doing that. It could be different for Placid, but I know for other Ironman events, you're kind of on your own. So if you've got a bike special needs bag that you want to pick up, I know for other Ironman races, you've had to just kind of pull your bike off and dig through bags, which is kind of a drag. That's the way it goes during COVID, but maybe for Placid, they will have changed it only because they've relaxed some of the other restrictions in terms of proof of vaccine and that kind of thing. So I don't know for sure, but we'll find out at the athlete meeting.
Hey, Russet, it's Kathy.
Hey.
So thanks so much for everything. Just for people that have done this before, who are logistically challenged, as well as other people who haven't done this before, where actually what is the distance between what most people consider the center of town or the oval to the horse grounds?
It's like 2.5 miles.
Okay, so it's definitely a drivable thing.
Yeah, it's not way far out of town. It's actually, I mean, it's part of the run. You'll pass it on the bike course, and then on the run loop again, you go through it like 4 times. So it's a little bit out of town, but not too far.
Okay, and in comparison to where the transition was in previous years, what is the distance between that and where the new transition is?
It's over a mile. It's past where, if you've done Placid in the past, it's a little bit past where the run turnaround is on Mirror Lake Drive. So it's
okay, where that out and that
yes
dog leg is. Okay.
Yeah. So it's what, like a mile and a half. And there will be that morning, there will be buses that'll go from town hall. So basically from almost where the finish line is, there'll be buses that go from the finish line over to Northwood School. So everything, I can't believe in my presentation, I think I never once said Northwood School is transition. So I apologize, but now we're saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be buses that go back and forth from there. So don't feel like you've got to walk like 3 miles round trip just to go test your bike tires on race morning. Just hop on a bus. I will say on the buses, you have to have a mask. Even if you're vaccinated, they don't care. You have to have a mask on the bus.
Oh,
You
okay. Okay.
pack masks. Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Good
you
to know.
do. Somebody asked, do you do the horse loop a total of 4 times? Yes, you do. Twice on the way down and twice on the way up. So that's like, you're going to be dreaming about this. You're going to have nightmares about it, but it is where the expo is. So you'll already be familiar with it. And like I say, at least it's pretty flat. So, yes, you're going to go. So in terms of when you are doing it, when you leave town initially and are approaching River Road, you're going to take a left and go through the horse grounds and then keep going to River Road. Then as you come back from River Road, you are then going to take a right into the horse grounds. And then you're going to go up to that church and take a loop. And then once you go back down around from town again, you again are going to take a left into the horse grounds, come on back down River Road, back up, and then right into the horse grounds and then back up. And I guarantee you there will be volunteers there reminding you where you're supposed to be. So do not worry that you're going to forget, oh, is this left 3 or left 4? I just don't know. Oh, and then so don't worry about that. Somebody's saying, I've never done Placid. What's the pavement quality on the bike? It's not awful. So when I was there a couple of weeks ago, they did the Hazelton out and back. They did maybe last year or the year before, I can't remember, but that's beautiful. The Keene Descent has a couple of sketchy areas, but again, somebody posted somewhere that I think they've repaved at least parts of the descent. And then when I was there, very end of June, they were, in fact, I had to stop a bunch of times. They were repaving as you go left into, you're in Keene, you go left into J, they were repaving that whole road. So it should be pristine. And I would suggest that you could always ride or drive the bike course if you've got time beforehand. But I would say, like, all things considered, Placid pavement, thumbs up for Placid pavement. And then someone's asking, what time do you recommend getting the shuttle transition? You are talking to a girl who likes to get stuff done early. So that is not the way that other people operate. I like to get to transition early enough that I feel almost bored. That's, again, this me, it's kind of personal preference. So shuttles, I think the shuttles start, I want to say they start at 4:30. I can double check the athlete guide. I have it with me, or you guys can check it. I would say earlier is better, just because maybe not as many people will be trying. They are going to run a bunch of them back and forth. They're going to constantly be running. So if you don't, you don't catch one, you catch the next one. But I would rather be safer than sorry. And I would get on one early, and then get one right back, and then hop in at whatever. What is the swims from 6 to 6:30? Hop in the swim, 6:15, 6:20, something like that, and get a nice little swim in. Let's see, I'm just waiting a couple more minutes. Any more questions? I'm excited about Placid. I hope everybody else is too. I think it'll be a fun day. I did look the temperature up, and right now it's supposed to be 75 during the day. Now this is like several days out. What are we at? 12 days. And 57 degrees with possible thunderstorms at night. So think about that when you are putting things in your bike and run special needs. I will say there will be an opportunity to pick your gear up. This is weird because in years past, you had to have people pick it up that night. And it looks like you don't have to pick it up until the next day. And I'm assuming it's because they want to space things out due to COVID. I lost my train of thought, but anyway, so you've got more time to pick your gear up. Oh, but I was going to say, but when you are putting things in your special needs bags, you have the opportunity to get your bike special needs bag back. They say you don't have an opportunity to get the run special need bag back. Maybe you do. I don't really know. But if you're going to be out late, maybe think about packing a headlamp, maybe some arm warmers that you can throw away, something cheap that you can throw over if you're going to be out late. I know In the past, it didn't say it this year, but they'll put out like like some broth for kind of once it turns dark to kind of keep people warm. Like I say, I didn't see anything about it this year, but I feel like they do it every year. They should do it again. So hopefully that's available as well. But just think about that. If it's going to storm, how might you pack differently? And again, be ready for anything. Did I mention the water temp? I did not mention the water temp in the athlete guide. I think usually it's like low-ish, like high 60s, low 70s. I know the athlete guide are on the website. It suggests a sleeveless wetsuit. So I would say it's comfortable, not face freezingly cold.
So I meant more for, has the water warmed up, and is there risk of it being a non-wetsuit swim?
I am not like a water expert, but I would say you can, in my non-educated opinion, it's going to be a wetsuit swim. I would not bet my salary on that, but I would bet like 95% of my salary on that. Yeah, I'm almost positive it'll be a wetsuit swim. Okay, so Brian says you will not be able to get your run special needs bag, so don't leave nothing valuable. Don't put like your car keys in your run special needs bag because you're not going to get them. So let's see. Somebody asked, do we know anything about Morton gels? Tim next week will speak, I'm guessing, more to this, but I would say just be mindful that make sure you're getting enough sodium in your gels. So the Morton gels, I don't know how to say it. They don't have as much sodium as like a Power Bar gel or some of the other gels out there. So just be mindful of that. Also, the 100 milligrams caffeine is a lot of caffeine in one shot. So I would just be mindful of that as well as you are thinking about what you're taking for gels that day.
Russet, I'm here if you want me to jump in on that at all.
Yeah, sure.
How's it going, guys? Thank you for doing this. The Morton gels, yes, Russet is right on track with. They have very little sodium in them. Very little. Maybe I'm gonna get it wrong, but maybe 30 milligrams. And also, yes, the caffeinated version of them is extremely high with 100 milligrams. Seems to be nothing in between. I will say the flavor was okay, but the consistency is a very, very different consistency. So I would highly recommend at least trying one ahead of time to make sure that you could handle the consistency. That tends not to be a problem for me. But some people don't like changes in consistency, particularly around gels. And this is definitely a different kind of gel than anything else really on the market that I've experienced. So
I did try them and they're very thick, or they were thick. The ones that I tried were thick. So it's not something I was used to. So there you have the answer from Tim.
Yeah, I've tried them too, and they are really thick. I agree with Russet, Brian, and they're like trying to take down a Jello shot, and you got to really work them out. So if you haven't used them, I would be cautious to use them on race day unless you really need them.
Kathy is saying only once has it ever been non-wetsuit swim in the last 13 years. So I think Jeff may have been the one asking that. So yeah, Kathy says it's going to be wetsuit as well. She's done this race like a million times. So
you never know, but just saying,
no.
it's a big lawsuit if it's not.
You'll hear from Kathy. All right. Any other questions? Okay. If you think of anything, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. I love talking about this stuff. Or like I say, you can stay tuned and ask Tim all your burning questions next week when he does his pacing and strategy webinar for everybody. But in the meantime, if that is it, then we will call it a night. And like I say, if you think of anything, feel free to reach out. It was great talking. All right. Thanks, everyone.